Have you ever pondered the enigma of why certain individuals, brimming with untapped genius and profound gifts, find themselves emerging from the shadows of broken homes? Why do those we deem as enlightened souls, the visionaries endowed with exceptional insight, compassion, ingenuity, and fortitude, seem to be thrust into worlds riddled with turmoil, abandonment, or outright disarray? This recurring motif isn't a mere coincidence. It's a tapestry woven through the annals of human history, mystical teachings, and the depths of psychological inquiry. From trailblazers like Maya Angelou, who transcended a childhood marred by rape and racial prejudice, to become a literary beacon touching countless lives, to enlightened figures such as Jesus Christ, who navigated familial skepticism and societal rejection to preach universal love, the pattern persists like an eternal echo. These enlightened souls are positioned in such harrowing settings not by random fate, but as elements of a grand, perhaps celestial, blueprint designed to temper them for their destined roles. Psychologists have delved extensively into the ramifications of fractured family units on personal development, uncovering how these crucibles can either shatter spirits or sculpt unbreakable tenacity. Ancient wisdom traditions frame this as the forge of the spirit, where trials and tribulations refine a being into one primed for remarkable evolution. These enlightened individuals often radiate an inner luminescence so intense that it illuminates and sometimes provokes the surrounding gloom. Their kin, mired in inherited wounds and cyclical despair, serve as the initial arena where these souls must master the arts of confrontation, heartache navigation, and profound introspection. By decoding the underlying rationale of this occurrence, we can illuminate the sacred intent behind these arduous origins. Below, I present 7 insightful explanations for why enlightened souls are birthed into such turbulent households. And as we embark on this exploration, consider subscribing to stay attuned to the streams of enlightened knowledge we share. Let's dive deeper. 1. To shatter inherited chains. Inherited chains of dysfunction weigh heavily on families, perpetuating echoes of unhealed wounds across eras, cycles of mistreatment, indifference, or venom that cascade from ancestors to offspring like an unrelenting river. Enlightened souls enter these lineages not to sustain the torrent, but to dam it decisively. They emerge as the revolutionaries, armed with innate emotional acuity and spiritual fortitude to discern destructive loops and dismantle them root and branch. Picture the audacity required to defy entrenched family legacies that enshrine agony as the norm. For these souls, the awakening frequently sparks in youth, where an intuitive dissonance alerts them to the profound flaws in their surroundings. Even as children, they might defy elders, probe societal conventions, or retreat into introspective rituals such as sketching dreams or contemplative walks in nature. This uprising stems not from mere insolence, but from a profound urge to mend the ancestral thread. Epigenetic studies illuminate how trauma etches itself onto genetic code, altering how descendants perceive and react to stressors, embedding fear or volatility into the very fabric of biology. Yet enlightened souls, through their unyielding spirit and restorative habits, like therapy, mindfulness, or community building, can overwrite these scars. By rejecting the poisonous scripts of their forebears, they ignite a renaissance, forging pathways toward balanced interactions for posterity. Take, for instance, the story of Malala Yousafzai, who, amid a patriarchal and conflict-ridden family backdrop in Pakistan, challenged oppressive norms not just for herself, but to liberate generations of girls from educational denial. Her defiance didn't merely survive the chaos, it transformed it into a global movement for empowerment. Moreover, this role extends beyond personal salvation. Enlightened souls often become unwitting therapists for their kin, modeling healthier boundaries and communication. In doing so, they plant seeds of change that may bloom slowly, perhaps in siblings or cousins who witness their transformation. The process is arduous, fraught with isolation and backlash, yet it underscores their purpose: to be the pivotal force that halts the wheel of suffering, ensuring that future branches of the family tree grow unburdened and vibrant. 2. To forge profound compassion and emotional acumen. Compassion and emotional acumen aren't innate luxuries bestowed at birth. They are alloys tempered in the blaze of hardship. Maturing amid dysfunctional dynamics immerses enlightened souls in a whirlwind of sentiments and clashes, from subtle emotional voids to overt deceit, serving as an intensive workshop for honing these vital attributes. In such households, these individuals frequently assume the mantle of harmonizers or diplomats, deciphering the silent undercurrents of discord, grasping the hidden anguish fueling sharp retorts, and intuitively mastering the art of solace. These competencies, sharpened through formative trials, evolve into indispensable instruments for their broader vocation. Mystical doctrines frequently portray enlightened souls as scarred saviors, those who channel their afflictions to empathize and mend the wounds of humanity. Their chaotic origins grant them an unparalleled lens, fostering bonds that penetrate to the core of others' struggles. This compassion morphs into their greatest asset, empowering them to motivate, counsel, and elevate multitudes. Consider the life of Nelson Mandela, who endured a fragmented family life, marked by loss and cultural upheaval in apartheid-era South Africa. These early exposures to injustice and emotional strife cultivated in him an extraordinary capacity for empathy, which he later wielded to bridge divides between oppressors and the oppressed, leading a nation toward reconciliation. Without those foundational pains, his ability to forgive and unite might never have crystallized so powerfully. Expanding further, this development often involves navigating complex family roles, perhaps as the emotional caretaker for a volatile parent or the shield for vulnerable siblings. Such experiences teach nuanced emotional regulation, active listening, and boundary setting, skills that translate seamlessly into leadership, artistry, or healing professions. Enlightened souls learn that true empathy isn't pity, but a shared vulnerability, allowing them to connect authentically and inspire profound shifts in others' lives. 3. To build unyielding inner fortitude. Fortitude is life's sternest instructor, and enlightened souls are ushered into dysfunctional realms to cultivate an inner core impervious to worldly tempests. These settings compel premature growth, fostering autonomy and a vision that transcends the immediate mire. Reflect on the myriad tales of luminaries who credit their unbreakable spirit to early adversities. They grasp swiftly that fortune won't be served on a platter, must be forged through sheer will. For enlightened souls, Each ordeal morphs into a cornerstone, every reversal a tutorial in endurance. This fortitude transcends mere endurance. It's about flourishing amid storms. Enlightened souls harness their anguish as propellant, converting tribulations into drive for self-betterment. This bedrock empowers them to pioneer, galvanize, and instigate revolutions. A poignant example is Frida Kahlo, whose childhood in a household shadowed by illness, betrayal, and cultural constraints fueled her artistic resilience. Her pain didn't define her. It propelled her surreal masterpieces that challenged societal norms and celebrated feminine strength. Delving deeper, this resilience manifests in adaptive strategies like resourcefulness in scarcity or emotional agility in conflict. They learn to pivot from victimhood to agency, often through solitary pursuits such as reading voraciously or pursuing hobbies that build confidence. Over time, this inner armor equips them to face global challenges, be it activism, innovation, or mentorship, with a poise born from having already conquered personal infernos. 4. To nurture a deep-seated calling, dysfunctional households frequently cast enlightened souls as misfits, instilling a poignant estrangement that, though sorrowful, ignites in fervent quest for identity. Bereft of familial anchorage, they venture outward, unearthing their essence in realms of mysticism, thought, or self-evolution from tender ages. They pose existential riddles. What summons me? What legacy shall I etch? These probes propel them toward enlightenment, unveiling latent talents and vocations. In turn, this calling illuminates paths not solely for themselves, but for wanderers adrift, proving ascent from ashes is attainable. Abraham Lincoln's narrative exemplifies this. Born into an impoverished, unstable frontier family plagued by loss and hardship, his outsider status spurred a relentless pursuit of knowledge and justice, culminating in his abolitionist presidency that reshaped a nation. His early alienation wasn't a curse but a catalyst for his monumental purpose. To elaborate, this journey often involves experimenting with diverse philosophies, perhaps delving into Eastern mysticism or Western psychology, leading to hybrid insights that enrich their contributions. The sense of purpose becomes contagious, inspiring communities and movements, as these souls embody the triumph of will over circumstance. 5. To master the art of liberation through forgiveness. Among the deepest teachings gleaned in fractured families is the alchemy of forgiveness, not as absolution of wrongs, but as emancipation from grudges' shackles. It liberates enlightened souls, severing ties to bygone torments. Confronting family betrayals demands colossal valor. Viewing perpetual. Confronting family betrayals demands colossal valor. Viewing perpetrators as ensnared in their own cycles. This forgiveness mends the self and potentially sparks familial renewal. Leonardo da Vinci, amid an illegitimate birth and familial neglect in Renaissance Italy, channeled resentment into creative forgiveness, birthing innovations that transcended personal grudges. Further, forgiveness practices like reflective journaling or guided meditations build emotional freedom, allowing these souls to redirect energy toward creation rather than bitterness. It's a transformative act that models healing for others. 6. To reflect truth back to their kin. Enlightened souls function as reflective surfaces, mirroring familial flaws and urging introspection. Their essence provokes unease, often inciting strife or ostracism. Yet it seeds potential for collective healing. Though challenging, this role catalyzes growth for receptive relatives, inspired by the soul's integrity. Marie Curie's story resonates. In a family strained by political exile and loss, her brilliance mirrored their limitations, yet motivated siblings toward intellectual pursuits, echoing her scientific breakthroughs. In depth, this mirroring involves subtle influences, like demonstrating healthy habits that gradually erode dysfunction, fostering environments where authenticity thrives. 7. To prepare for a transcendent vocation. At its core, dysfunctional origins sculpt enlightened souls for exalted endeavors. Adversities hone virtues, sharpen abilities, and enrich comprehension of mortal woes, rendering them ideal vessels for impact. Whether through innovation, advocacy, or spiritual guidance, they leverage origins as wisdom reservoirs. Their sagas of victory over trials affirm human potential, kindling hope. Elon Musk, emerging from a fractured South African family rife with abuse and relocation, transformed personal chaos into ventures like SpaceX, propelling humanity toward stars. This preparation encompasses holistic growth, physical endurance, intellectual depth, spiritual alignment, ensuring they fulfill destinies that ripple across eras. The odyssey of an enlightened soul is fraught yet intentional. From dysfunctional cradles they ascend as harbingers of renewal, shattering chains and embodying possibility. If this stirs your essence, recall, your trials are not endpoints but preludes to splendor. This is the essence of awakened evolution. Like, share, and subscribe for more insights. Thank you for journeying with us.